I watch players cash out at 2 times multiplier thinking they're playing it safe. They lose 70% of their bankroll in 2 hours. Meanwhile, sharp players using split strategies consistently extract profit from the same exact rounds. The obvious choice in Aviator feels bulletproof until you run the numbers. Cashing out early seems like the smart conservative play. You see that multiplier climbing and your finger hovers over that cash out button. Every instinct screams take the guaranteed profit at 1.5 times. These techniques only work on real fair games. Most Aviator platforms are scams. Social media ads point you straight to them. Telegram and Instagram are the worst sources. One platform passed every test, the RTP checks out, no rigged algorithms. Withdrawals clear in hours. Welcome bonuses up to $500. Check the link in the pinned comment below. This is exactly what destroys your bankroll systematically. You're fighting a mathematical distribution that punishes single strategy thinking. The crash points follow an exponential curve where early exits trap you in a negative expected value cycle. Here's what I mean by the math trap. You cash out at 1.3 times thinking you're safe. You win 60% of rounds, but your wins are microscopic. Your losses when the plane crashes before 1.3 completely erase multiple winning sessions. I've tracked this pattern across thousands of rounds. The house edge compounds differently at different multiplier ranges. At 1.2 times, your true win rate drops to 58%. At 1.5 times, it's 49%. You think you're being conservative, but you're actually choosing the worst mathematical position possible. Now here's where split betting changes everything completely. You place 2 simultaneous bets with different cash-out targets. Bet 1 cashes at 1.3 times automatically. Bet 2 waits for 3.0 times or higher. This approach exploits the game's probability distribution instead of fighting it. Your conservative bet covers your base stake most rounds. Your aggressive bet captures the occasional higher multipliers that actually generate profit. The combination creates positive expected value over extended play. I use specific ratios that maximize this mathematical advantage. 70% of my stake goes to the early cash out, 30% chases the higher multiplier. This ratio ensures I survive variance while capturing upside when it appears. Auto cash out becomes essential for executing this strategy precisely. Manual clicking introduces emotional interference and timing errors. I set my conservative bet to cash at 1.2 times automatically. I set my aggressive bet to cash at 4 times exactly. The key insight most players miss involves round independence. Each crash point is completely separate from previous results. You cannot predict when high multipliers will appear. You can only position yourself to capture them when they do appear. This is where disciplined bankroll management becomes your primary weapon. I never risk more than 2% of my session bankroll per round. With split betting, this means 1.4% on the conservative side, 0.6% chasing higher multipliers. Session limits prevent emotional decision-making from destroying your mathematical edge. I set strict stop losses at 5% of my starting bankroll. When I hit that limit, the session ends immediately. No exceptions, no chasing losses. Most players abandon their strategy after 3 consecutive losses. This is precisely when mathematical variance is working normally. Your strategy needs at least 50 rounds to demonstrate its true performance. Anything less is just noise. The provably fair system means each round's outcome is predetermined before it starts. You cannot influence the crash point through timing or intuition. You can only position your bets to profit from the long-term distribution pattern. Here's the critical error I see constantly. Players switch strategies mid-session based on recent results. They start conservative, then chase big multipliers after a few wins. This destroys any mathematical edge their original approach might have created. Successful players treat each session like a mathematical siege. You deploy consistent tactics across many rounds. You ignore short-term fluctuations. You focus entirely on executing your predetermined strategy with mechanical precision. The multiplier history display creates dangerous psychological traps. Seeing 100 times multiplier makes players chase similar outcomes immediately. This is exactly backwards thinking. High multipliers become less likely after appearing not more likely. Advanced players track their actual win rates at different multiplier targets. I keep detailed records of cash-out success rates. This data reveals which ranges generate consistent profit versus which ranges drain bankroll slowly. Your position sizing must account for inevitable losing streaks. Even with optimal strategy, you'll experience runs of 8 to 12 consecutive losses. Your bet size needs to survive these mathematical realities without forcing desperate position increases. The social aspect, where other players' bets are visible creates additional emotional interference. Watching someone cash out at 50 times while you took profit at 2 times generates regret and strategy deviation. I ignore all other player activity completely. Risk management in Aviator requires accepting that most individual rounds will be small losses or small wins. The profit comes from occasional larger wins that more than compensate for accumulated small losses. This requires patience that most players simply don't possess. Split betting with auto cash out settings gives you a mathematical framework that works regardless of your emotional state. The system executes your strategy automatically. Your job is maintaining discipline around position sizing and session limits. Players who master this approach consistently generate profit, while others chase obvious plays that lead nowhere. The math rewards patience and punishes impulse decisions. Your edge comes from doing what feels counterintuitive but works mathematically. Fast withdrawals beat blocked accounts every time. Welcome bonuses up to $500 available. Link in the pinned comment below. Subscribe for mathematical precision. Start implementing split betting strategies with small position sizes until you see the mathematical patterns emerge. Track your results across at least 200 rounds before making any strategy adjustments. The data will prove which approaches generate consistent profit versus which ones just feel safe.